All right. Good morning. Good morning, FYI family. Good morning, Mandy. Good morning, Joy Lynn. Good morning, Who me? Edward Brooms on the live as well. Good morning, Edward. Mandy Cummins is here, and Emerson Holder is here, and good to see Ingrid and Moses Barlow. Jacqueline is here as well. Good morning, gang. Lynette Fernandez, Rena Marks, Michael, Jilly G. Mandy Cummins, and all the other folks who are joining us this morning. Great to have all of you here with us. Melanie Adams is here as well. Rena. Guys, good morning. Good morning. Those of you who are, getting up, you're heading to work, you're heading home, you're in between, you're in the gym, wherever you are joining us from this morning. Gloria Chester, good to see you on the live, and all the other folks joining us this morning. Great to have all of you on with us. Terrence Beaton, good to have you, Terrence, and good to have you. I see. It's Fordyce Abrams. Fordyce Abrams, good to have you on the live this morning. Is it Cicely? Good to have you, Miss Fordyce Abrams, Lester Williams on the live too this morning, folks. It's Wednesday, July 11th. Wednesday, July 11th. Hope you guys are good. Wherever you're joining us from this morning, great to have you on with us today. Great to have each and every one of you on the live. I'm going to remind you all of a few things this morning. Just a couple, not plenty, not enough. Just a couple of things we're going to remind you all of. For instance, we've been talking about the regional chairman, Darren Adams and Linden, and some of what their challenges, successes in the past, the challenges now. And, Darren Adams, the regional chairman, pointing the way, ably assisted by Mark Goring and team. Good to have all of you who are joining us. And as you know, over the weekend, we saw Darren take to social media for over an hour and a half, talking about all things Region 10. Take a look at what he said, folks, over the weekend. We remind you.
Aaron Adams has said that the development for Region 10 only came when the APNU-AFC coalition took office in 2015.
For 23 years, you recall, we were denied the Linden to Brazil road. And so the coalition government quickly they engaged the UK government, they were asked to identify a number of projects and submit them to the UK government. And of course, the Linden to Mabura road found the favor with the UK government.
He said that project got underway in 2017 with a feasibility study. He said that for 23 years, the people of the region are denied that piece of infrastructure. He said that when the PPP returned to us in 2020, it decided to halt the project. The Soos-Dyke Linden Highway was another project.
The government, at the time, PNC, when they demitted office in 1992, left monies for the resurfacing of the Linden-Soos-Dyke Highway. The PPP government in 1992 would have refused to proceed with that project in terms of allocating the funds that was left by the then Desmond Hoyt regime. And they refused to allocate funds for 23 years so that the people of Linden could have benefited from a resurfaced highway.
He said that the new government coming out of the opposition will revisit this project.
Remember the Linden Music Corps, the band that we would have trained many young people across the country, particularly here in Linden. They would normally play at our national and other events. That is a program that the coalition government would have pioneered, and it was the brainchild of the leader of the People's National Congress, Comrade Aubrey Norton. The sweeper cleaners, you remember when we took office, sweeper cleaners were getting $25,000 a month. We increased the sweeper cleaners package to $65,000 a month by the time we demitted office.
Adams said that water was another area of focus for the coalition.
We quickly embarked on a study. We constructed several wells at Amelia's ward and in other communities. Sadly, we have seen the neglect of these projects and transformational projects, programs that would have seen quality water coming to our people.
He identified other areas of development that the present government abandoned.
We also, in that process, created employment for young people here in Linden. We initiated steps. We constructed ICT hubs across Region 10, and we had started the National Data Management Program, NDMA, where young people were employed at the multipurpose building there in Block 22, receiving a salary. Upon assuming office, the PPP shut the program down.
This cost young people their jobs with the National Data Management Authority. It also cost the region millions of dollars, according to Adams. The conclusion was that the PPP was bent on stifling Region 10.
Yeah. Welcome back, folks. Just a gentle reminder of some of what took place over the last 72 hours. Events are so fast moving that we got to remind you some of the things that have happened, And I don't understand why this government likes to interfere with people. And then when things come on their doorstep, they're the first ones who want to cry foul. FOWL or UL, take a pick. They're the first ones who like to cry foul. Folks, good to have so many of you on the live today. Michael James and Lettel and Rastaman and McGarrell, Seville, McGarrell. Good to have you there. Whomie is on the live too. There's plenty of things happening. Like, for instance, I saw T. Mohammed. They were in, I think it's Bobis, over the last 24 hours. And then you got some folks on the PPP trying to disrupt the meeting. Folks, we speak out against this as though, we would speak out against the interruption of a PNCR meeting or a Alliance for Change meeting. JG, Dali Anderson, this is a democratic country. At least they say it is. Why then, if the PPP are not afraid, as Jagno says, they have nothing to worry about and they're going to win this by a landslide, they can get all 65 seats, why then you interfering with people? It boggles the mind. Why are they interfering with people? If they got it down, they got it locked. What's the worry? When you see that, I mean, they say one thing, right? They say one thing, but when you really and truly listen to them and their argumentation, when you watch the actions, it seemed to be something else. It seemed to be something quite different, and Irfan Ali still has a lot to answer for, right? You all forget GRA gate, tax gate. You all forget that. Well, I can remind you all. I'm going to remind you all. Irfan Ali says he hasn't done anything illegal. What do you guys think? We saw the WhatsApp messages. We saw the WhatsApp messages. I'll take care of that. Consider it done. We saw the WhatsApp message. You tell me we know what we see now? That's how you're all trying to kerfuffle us. We don't know what we see now? We don't know what we're seeing? Irfan is complicit, and it was none other than, I think it was Attorney at Law, Charge of the Congress, Christopher Ram, who said on the basis of that and many other things that has happened over the last 5 years, Irfan should not be any place close to a re-election. Any place close. On the sidelines of an event recently, the media engaged Irfan. I'm certain you remember. If not, I'm reminding you.
He said Friday that the government has spent more money on improving the security system at the Chedi Jagan International Airport.
Recently, we've upgraded the security at the airport, investing in new scanners and other technology that would help us to strengthen our security. We're also investing in border patrol system. With the US, we're working on core security and border security. So we have been having a lot of success.
He said that this is all part of strengthening the borders. He also commented on the senior police officer who has been sanctioned by the United States.
The police officer will have to proceed on administrative leave. I've already spoken to the ambassador, requested all the information that is available so that we can proceed with that.
Senior Superintendent Himnot Saw was one of 4 Guyanese to be sanctioned recently. The others are Paul Davy Jr., the son of the late Paul Davy, who died in Colombia in 2021. Mark Cromwell, also known as Demon and Diamond, a name long linked to criminal elements in Guyana, and Randolph Duncan. President Ali said that Guyana and the United States have been working together.
We've been working together on this security issue. And the US has been talking to us on various initiatives to target persons who are involved, whether in formal and informal setting.
When questioned about Transparency International Guyana, he described the organization as a political institution. He also described it as fake. This organization has been critical of President Ali's perceived involvement in the tax evasion issue involving Azruddin Mohammed.
That I've spoken on this matter. I've issued a statement. There's absolutely nothing I'm going to add on it. I don't have any authority on taxes. Any citizen can raise any issue with me. Those matters are forwarded to the relevant agency. The agency is what makes decisions. And if a document is falsified and brought to an agency or sent to anyone, then what do? We have to wait until we get the true and correct document, which we have now, which the United States has failed. And that's the crux of the matter.
He declined to confirm any conversation or engagement with Azruddin Mohammed on WhatsApp.
Did you see any engagement there? Did you see any engagement there? Well, he can claim. This guy is also claiming that he is not sanctioned. This guy is claiming that he did not evade taxes when the evidence is clear before him. The duplicity and dishonesty. I would not be part of that. This guy can claim whatever he wants.
Welcome back, folks. It is rich hearing Irfan Ali talk about duplicity and dishonesty. It is so rich. It is so rich. Talking a number of issues there, but it's so rich. We got a sanction of Mr. Hemnat Shaw, you know, and then you got GRA Gate. It is so rich. Duplicity, dishonesty. My God. Sudhari, what sets you? Forms. Rita, Rena, Mandy. Folks, it isn't easy in this country, no. It's not easy in this country. It's not. It's not. It's not easy. Mr. Duplicity. If you look for that word in the dictionary, you see a Porter Aford right next door. Duplicity and dishonesty. And he was the one in the text messages. He was the middleman in the messages. Mandy says a lie from the pits of hell. Lie from the pits of hell. And that's why we got to watch them. Events are so fast-paced and people are worried about who will lead a coalition. I thought we decided on that. I thought we decided on that. Who going alone, who walking together. I thought we decided on that. Y'all know where I am. I hope you do. Because sometimes I hear some commentary and I say people don't listen to enough to the program. You know, I hope you all know where I am. By now, I hope so. You know, so we got a lot of work to do. And these events are just telling us this government needs to be removed via the ballot. We go and we vote them out. We go and we vote them out, Marlon Thomas. We vote them out. Too much happening. It's too much. Too much happening. Look at GCOM, the AG, the Attorney General, who is going to be a candidate in this election, who is a minister in the PPP's government. He's advising the GCOM, the Ghana Elections Commission. He's advising GCOM on electoral matters. And we don't expect that's going to be partisan. Everell, Bernice, Lakshmin. Lakshmin, how you doing? Say hello to Jamal for me, please. We don't expect it's going to be. How it is? You could imagine these people don't even want to give polling agents proxies to vote at the polling station that they're watching. GCOM says it's up to the political parties to take on that work, to take on that exercise. It's up to the political parties to ferry your people back and forth wherever they're voting. Right? If that is not suspect, if dying suspect, I don't know what is. And that is why Commissioner Alexander, I think it was, who told us recently, too many unanswered questions at GCOM, far too many unanswered questions at GCOM. It's a cause for concern. It's a cause of concern. You know, GCOM seemed to have been captured. I can tell you by who. Seemed to have been captured.
This commission voted against issuing certificates of employment to polling agents on elections day. Commissioner Vincent Alexander said that the issue came up at a commission meeting Thursday.
Every polling agent to be given an opportunity to have a certificate of employment if he or she is working away from where he or she is entitled to vote. Because Constitution clearly says, and the court has been saying, that there should be no impediment to a citizen being able to cast his or her vote. So if somebody goes to work in Cameroon, who comes from West Ham, obviously they can't vote unless they have certificate of employment.
GCOM has decided that it's the function of the political party. GCOM decided that it would be of no assistance in that regard.
We had proposed that there could be legislative change to provide for those persons to vote either by certificates of employment or proxy. It has been rejected by a full-free majority.
GCOM also discussed the issue of incarcerated persons casting a ballot.
Chairman sought to suggest that there is some law that forbids the public or anyone from speaking with prisoners, and therefore we don't have the facilitation to allow them to vote. We argue that there is no need to speak with prisoners, that when this incarcerated can be compiled the same way in which the listening services are compiled, and they could vote on that day without us touching with the prisoners. Apart from the fact that we don't agree that the law forbids people from speaking with the prisoners, because there are a whole range.
There was the issue of half of the ballot being stamped. An unstamped ballot is invalid. This issue was referred to the Attorney General.
The AG's responses, the GCOM has the prerogative to determine how that matter can be resolved. And so the AG, in fact, has gone forward with the position we have taken from the inception. This was proposed by the other commissioners. So now, GCOM to administratively determine how they can deal with the question of being storing where a ballot is not being stamped. It is stamped once it's authentic before the count is conducted.
GCOM didn't address the issue of the names of people being out of the jurisdiction at the time of polling to be highlighted.
The promise will be on the agenda of the next meeting.
Welcome back. I can't even imagine that we're still here. I can't. This issue of polling agents who got to vote, and you got to leave your poll and go someplace else to vote. I mean, I thought we solved this problem already. I honestly thought we had solved this issue already. And then is the other GCOM issue, which the Alliance for Change spoke to quite recently, of the AG advising GCOM on electoral matters when he himself would have an interest.
The Alliance for Change has written to the chairperson of the Guyana Elections Commission on the issue of an independent legal advisor. At present, Attorney General Anil Nandlal is performing that function. The contract with the previous legal officer wasn't renewed. He had given a legal opinion that didn't coincide with the views of the commission.
The Alliance for Change notes with growing concern that since the termination of the services of GCOM's previous legal advisor, there has been no appointment of a suitably independent legal counsel to serve the commission.
The letter stated that the concern is that the Minister of Legal Affairs is now expected to advise the commission on matters in the run-up to the 2025 elections.
For some time now, well before the election date was announced, stakeholders, including the Alliance for Change, have consistently expressed grave concerns about the integrity of the voters' list. Against this backdrop, the insertion of the Attorney General, whose partisan affiliations and political commentary are well documented, into the advisory framework of GCOM raises serious issues of conflict of interest.
The letter stated that the Attorney General is a politically aligned figure.
You know, I saw the leader of the opposition meeting with the leader of the opposition, his team rather, meeting with the ABCEU ambassadors. This is America, the Canada, Britain, you got the European Union as well, meeting with those representatives from those high commissions, those missions, and those embassies just yesterday. And I have no doubt that matter was raised. That's not a light issue, folks. Conflict of interest and bias and a whole host of things when SORD comes into play there. Lester and Veronica, those aren't light issues. And that's why I said, you know, I got to remind you, because so much happens on a daily basis, you know, that commentary there might seem like 5 years old, because so much is happening, so much. So I said, you know, I got to remind Diane and Andrew and Asha, Leonard Sampson, I got to remind them what's at stake and what's going on. Got to remind you all. You know, we covered this shooting of Mr. Narain in Agricola, I think it was yesterday, day before yesterday. And we're getting some more information on this matter of this shooting incident. And the gentleman who was shot said he is no stranger to law enforcement, and apparently had just come out of prison himself for an incident. And want to bring you guys up to speed with that, and then I'll give you guys some thoughts on the other side. Going to give you guys some thoughts on the other side. But that shooting incident in Agricola, I'd love to talk to the other family, hear their thoughts on what's happening and the way the investigation is going, to hear their thoughts there. But as I said, we do have some additional information, additional reporting on this matter. I want you guys to take a listen, folks. Take a look, take a listen.
Nicholas Norine, who was shot and killed in Agricola on Monday, was no stranger to the law. Norine, 28, was killed while he was said to have been clearing a drain in the community. His alleged killer has been identified as 24-year-old Raphael Bollas, also of Agricola. It turned out that Norine was recently released from prison after serving a 16-year jail term. He was one of 3 men found guilty of robbing and battering then Land Court Judge Nicola Pierre and her spouse Mohammed Chan. The others were Damian Millington and Warren Mackenzie. On July 19, 2015 at Montrose, East Coast, Demerara, Norine was one of the perpetrators armed with a firearm, and he assaulted and robbed Pierre of a quantity of gold and diamond jewelry, a nugget of gold, a quantity of gemstones, among other items, including several Nintendo games. Additionally, Pierre's husband Chan was robbed of 5 wristwatches, a Samsung Galaxy cellular phone, $8,000, a wedding ring, 4 Oakley sunglasses, and 1 brown leather wallet. Justice Pierre got a broken jaw during her beating while the bandits were executing their robbery. Meanwhile, her husband had to undergo surgery to have one of his eyes removed. In the wake of Norine's killing, a video surfaced of his brother running through a street in Agricola with an AR-style rifle shooting at the home of his brother's killer. That brother was arrested and the firearm seized. Meanwhile, the police have issued a wanted bulletin for Raphael Bollas.
Wild, wild west. Wild, wild west of a country. That's what we're having here. The wild, wild west. And people have to wait too long in this country for justice. Too long in this country. And you all know, unless we want to stifle our consciences, Rastaman and Andrew, 2015 and 2020, this country was going somewhere. This country was moving forward. Crimes would be solved like that. Piracy was down. The Ghana police force, tip-top shape. We had a more professionalized force in 2020, 2025, 2015 to 2020, a more professional Ghana police force. Now, 2020, 2025, my Jesus. We gotta get a separate program to chronicle all, to remind you about all these scandals. And I told you folks yesterday, as we were live at Coven John Police Station waiting for an update on the Rundle Clark's shooting, that lots of the theme from that family who spoke to us, the sister, the brother-in-law, the mother, the attorney, right, seemed reminiscent of Quindon Bacchus and or in Boston, and just here and here, Irfan promised the family no stone unturned. That seems familiar to you? That's the promise in the tubes. No stone unturned, Everil. No stone unturned. As I said yesterday, we were outside of the Coven John Police Station to get an update from the authorities there on the status of this investigation, right? And Clark's mother and father accompanied the attorney to get that update. And when they emerged from the Coven John Police Station. The attorney at law, Dr. Dexter Todd, who's on a lot of fronts representing many issues. He is also the lead attorney on the Adriana Young issue. Now, when we come back, because I want you all to hear that update, there's a connection between the two issues. And we'll talk a little bit about that on the other side when we come back. Yeah. Interesting times. Wild, wild west country. Take a look. Attorney at law, Dr. Dexter Todd.
Things the police are intending to do tomorrow. They will do the post-mortem tomorrow, so there will be an autopsy tomorrow done. And of course, that is to get a findings or to confirm the findings that the deceased died as a result of a gunshot injury. And then they have 4 persons in custody, 2 of the policemen who are on close arrest and 2 security officers that they are going to, they said, of course, all firearms that they had are being analyzed. Now, what was worrying about the brief today is the fact that one of the investigators said that he went back to that area and didn't find anybody. Now, this is a community. And so I think the call has to be that people who have information in relation to what happened, whatever they saw, what they coming as a result of what they heard, and then they saw something, they need to put that in black and white. Because the haste at which the police are using to get this filed for advice at the Director of Public Prosecutions, we have to be careful about what is really going in this file. And we do not want to have a situation where the file is not, the investigation is not thorough, and then the advice reflects the incompleteness of this investigation. So we ask that I believe that is what we had mentioned to the commander as well, that we will encourage persons to come out to give your statement. Parents, they have the number of the investigator, so arrangements can be made for persons to give their statements. And I think it's very important here, because a lot of things said by the parents, the police are now hearing for the first time. And imagine, so I'm telling you, people are in the community, they're on the ground, they know a lot of information. But if we don't give that information to the police and it's in black and white, then the police are not going to be able to act on it. And now it's also worrying what we're dealing with. You're dealing with a force at the time which has lost significant confidence. So you have to be careful, and people have to be very active in the fight for justice. We can't, while we understand that the police force faces a problem in relation to credibility, in relation to their ability to do investigations impartially and fairly, we have to be careful as to allowing that to not allow us to come to give statements. We have to give statements. And I would say even take a further step. Not only give statements, flash the statements that you give to the police, so that sometimes when we see the file back in court, we can say, yes, that is the file. That is the statement I give. All right. So you have to come out. It's a process that you have to be actively involved in. So that, I believe, is the update for the family. We did ask the commander as well as the investigator that this must be a practice that must be encouraged, that they must get update. This is a family that has lost someone, and you want to know what is happening with the investigations. And I believe it's commendable that the commander was able to engage at that level today.
All right, welcome back. Dr. Dexter Todd there, walking us through the paces of where the investigation is at. And that autopsy is supposed to be happening even now. When I spoke with the family earlier, they said everybody was there, the attorney, everybody was there. And the police had not arrived as yet, and they had been assembled since about 6:30 this morning, trying to get an autopsy done, to get to get the result of those autopsy and for the next steps to be had from there. But again, they were waiting on the Ghana police forces. Always the Ghana police force. Sadly, we don't want to bash nobody for the sake of, just trying to be a rabble rouser. But the facts are what the facts are. We got to pull our socks up as a society. We got a lot of money, but you got a lot of money, but you're still crass. You ain't got no brought up spend. You ain't got appreciation for the finer things in life, but you got a lot of money. What does it mean? Air fun is still air fun. Air fun is still air fun. What does it mean? What does it mean? So we're following those issues this morning, folks. Wherever you're joining us from today, some of the issues we're following. A number of other things happening. It's real election season. It's real election season. We see the ambassador from the Dominican Republic says that they put a proposal on the table, and it's still on the table this morning. Said they got some thoughts of how we can solve this blackout issue. Right? This is Ernesto, Ambassador, His Excellency Ernesto Torres. He says we could solve this problem, but perhaps people don't want the problem to be solved. Perhaps I saw some reporting that suggests for 2025, in terms of fuel for the power ships, it's going to be $26 billion. $26 billion. If we solve the power problem, you won't get the kickbacks. Maybe it's $26 billion on paper to the power company. Maybe it's $15 billion, but the rest is kickbacks. Up comes Ambassador Ernesto Torres. He says that they are still awaiting word on this proposal made last year that promises to upgrade and transform Guyana's power distribution system in 2 years, eliminating blackout. Maybe them boys don't want to solve the problem. That's why the gas to shore project is lagging behind, because don't let me solve it. That seems to be what's happening here. Don't come wrong with funny. So we're following that. On one side, wouldn't it be great if we could solve this blackout problem? You can't run a business in this country on this grid, on again, off again, 24/7. You got to get your own backup power to do that. You can't do it ordinarily like that. And it's election season, because money sharing Wild West. Because we care cash grant for students, for schools, they say they're going to mop up. I think today, the 11th day of June, is part of that mop up exercise. And if you check it, the money is your own. Either way, as a citizen of this country, the money is your own. Some colleagues sent me a video. They say, look, this Nigerian man, he receiving money to his family. A Nigerian guy. We're so loving in this country. I saw Francis following a story where you got Venezuelans with nice house and land and so on here now. Auntie Mia Motley, Prime Minister of Barbados. You all remember your prophecy? You all remember Mia word of knowledge? Marlon Thomas, I know you're a sharp politician and activist. You all remember Mia prophecy? Who can help me this morning? Help me. Who can take this seat? Incidentally, I was in that area, right? The fall pen housing area on Saturday, right? I saw Francis and crew. They were there, I think, on Sunday, right? You remember what Mia said? I saw also, if you all don't believe Francis, I saw DJ Stress. DJ Stress in that area too, on a live, articulating the same issues Francis was articulating, because it incenses you as a citizen. Even though DJ Stress was saying, I don't want to be political. I'm not trying to be political. I ain't bad talking. But if you're talking about the drainage and the Venezuelans who are living there, I see Andrew got it. Bridgemohan got it. Chevron got it. Beverly Glen, you're sharp politicians. Me say we can become tenants in our own country. Could you imagine if we have a situation where Venezuelans own house and land in this country? I ain't telling, but people of Venezuelan parentage are telling you, but full-fledged. No other tie to this country than the seeking domicile or domicility here. They're fleeing whatever's bothering them in Venezuela. And now Guyanese got to go to them to rent and so on. Them to buy land from. In your own country, Mill said you're going to become tenants. Right? You're going to become tenants in your own country. Elizabeth reminding us too, Elizabeth Norine, saying here that she also said that developing countries do not leave the people behind. Well, them boys might argue, well, we ain't so developing. We're developing. We're not a developed country. He said we become tenants. I was in arts. And Nigeria, he said, I'm from Nigeria. My family and we have received the 4 cash grants. Whatever. This is nice time country, We're a peaceful people, at heart. Struggling, we struggle. Yes, foreigners get house, land, cash grant. But the multilateral secondary school leaking. It's only when the rain falls, there's nowhere the house leaking. The multilateral secondary school and Mandela Avenue, run by the Jumbie board, just finished construction, the whole roof leaking. That is what happens when you give friends, family, and favorites the work. Deborah Pearson, Sheena Hazel, is what happens when you give friends, family, and favorites the work. Number of doctors came out swinging against the administration recently. They said this on-call duty thing is slavery. This on-call duty business is slavery. The remuneration, the conditions. I ain't gotta be physical conditions, because I can see Frank running and saying, but look, we just built a spanking new Diamond Regional Hospital. Folks, I see Elizabeth on the live. Right? Herself and her husband, they work at a hospital in the Carolinas. Now, I don't give too much information because I know some people wicked. They work in a hospital in the Carolinas. And my uncle took me there a day. Right? First thing is a campus. Right? It's not one building, it's a confusion powder. You know how Georgetown Hospital started as one thing and then they got 15 different looking buildings in this space. That's confusion. These people got a campus. If you see this thing, right, it will make the Diamond Regional Hospital, right, look like the entrance. It will make it look like the entrance. If you see this monstrosity, and they say that's a small hospital. If you see this campus that they have, and there's norm, everything like clockwork, like this. Right? You can land a hospital, you can land a helicopter Diamond Regional Health. You can land a helicopter at Georgetown Public Hospital. You understand what I'm telling you? Right? If I use the air dash, I'm someplace and I get air dash, they could land me in the compound at Georgetown Public Hospital. Yeah? You see what I'm talking about? We ain't thinking like that. Bare minimum. right? So look, you see, that's a helicopter. You can land on the roof, you can land on the lawn. Facilities. Facilities. You should see that. You can eat off the floor. You can watch your face on the floor, how the floors are clean. See your reflection. Eat off the floor in this place. Folks, I'm happy for the way that we've come and how far we've come as a country. I'm happy with the little every government has done, but we're too far at the back. We're so far down. When we reach up, we touch him bottom. That's how far we down. So you can get a new building, but everything is working right. Like the North Rambert Multilateral School. Little rainfall, the whole roof leaking. Right? Maybe that's part of the architecture. The inside and outside. You know? You're in class, you got to open umbrella. So the students at the North Rambert Multilateral School were told, that's abandoned. You know, academic nourishment yesterday. And Frank out here saying, right, dismisses, according to the headline, attempts to undermine the health sector progress. Frank single-handedly undermining the progress. Single-handedly undermining the progress. Big building alone is not progress. Building roads alone is not progress. We showed you in Diamond, just up the road, Grove, a road built last year, done falling apart. The school, North Rambert Multilateral School, the construction completed this year after the other building was burned down. The roof leaking. What's that? A police station built in Kokwani. Finish repairing, finish rehabilitating, finish, you know. And then they realize the back of the building sinking. And they got to tear down the back structure that just finished rehabilitating, just finished constructing. They got to tear down the back portion to build again. That's what's happening when you give friends, family, and favorites. That's what's happening when you give them. We just came back from the Pomeroon. You got to go through the Pomeroon to get to Moruca in Region 1. You know, you get to Region 1 from Region 2. You head up the Pomeroon River, head out into the Atlantic, you bank wrong 2 turns, bops. You head into a stream and Region 1 watching you there. You're long, beautiful boat riding, the vistas. You're just looking like it's little Venice. Water and houses, water and houses. Now them boys in this scampering. You know? No, you can get $2 billion in investment in drainage and irrigation coming to you. You know, Pomeroon River residents. You know, on the tail end, election gimmicks. The new Harbor Bridge opening August 31st. Election is September 1. Election gimmicks. You got to recognize it. 5 years. They didn't put health boats in Region 1. On the eve of the election, Region 1 gets 2 health boats. 3 new health boats. And boats that the coalition left, them boys punch hole at the bottom and let it sink. Put holes in them and sink them. And now they come as though this is now for the first time. It's novel. Right? 3 health boats commissioned to boost health services in Region 1. Never ever an efficient service. You can hear, can't find the captain, boating a gas, this, the litany of woes. Right? Election gimmicks. Election gimmicks. billions of dollars over the last 5 years spent in this economy is now Region 1 getting boats as part of its health services. So how do people make out there all the time? How our Region 1 brothers and sisters have made out all this time? How have they made out? My God. Let's leave it there, folks. Let's leave it there today. We want to head off and deal with some other issues and catch you guys on the other side of the day on our other broadcast. We may come to you in between that time if you have anything important we want to convey to you guys. But let us leave it there. Election gimmicks. You gotta watch out for them. Watch out for them. Do not be fooled. Here is where we are as we run off, folks. Not run off like mentally. As we leave the broadcast. Thanks for joining us. Share the live. Please and thank you. Smash that emoji button as well, folks. And I did say that this birthday here is fundraising for this campaign. Got a birthday coming up at the end of the month. We're going to use it to fundraise for the campaign. Please and thank you. That's what we're doing. Julian and Bellamona and Lester and all the other folks, Upright Youth, Bridge Mohan and Shelley and Everil and Ingrid, Jilly G, Yvette is here too, Elizabeth, I see Seville and all the other folks, Rita, Rastaman, who me, Maria, Henrik, and all the other beautiful folks who've joined us this morning. Thanks for joining our broadcast. We're going to see you guys on the other side of the day. God willing, we come in between that time. Stay safe. We'll see you guys later. Have a fantastic day.